state of Israel to obtain this. And if you do obtain it, it's illegal to show it and or talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, my DNA. Now, I bet you thought it was going to be a lot crazier than that, right? Now, you might ask yourself, why is it illegal to obtain this in the state of Israel? Because it proves through your DNA that Jews around the world have no ancestral ties to the land of Israel. But according to Israeli law, the fact that I have Jewish blood gives me more right to somebody's home and land in the land of Palestine than somebody that has been there for hundreds of years.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, Yano Show KE. Hope you're good, hope you're fine. So I just want to give a clap for the new subscribers, after the people that are supporting me. I could have not did this without you. So that much support, that you're doing in my channel, I just want to appreciate you. So today I just want to vote up to with this content that why is this is it illegal to do a DNA test in Israel? And we've seen that many people have reacting on this story, that they're saying that most of the Jews they have come from they are African Jews, Chinese Jews. They are because Jewish have no ancestral origin, and that is why the people are saying that it's illegal to do a DNA test in Israel. So I don't know what is your take on this illegal to do a DNA test in Israel. So let that in the comment section. Let us see what are you saying about this.
State of Israel to obtain this. And if you do obtain it, it's illegal to show it and or talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, my DNA. Now, I bet you thought it was going to be a lot crazier than that, right? Now, you might ask yourself, why is it illegal to obtain this in the state of Israel? Because it proves through your DNA that Jews around the world have no ancestral ties to the land of Israel. But according to Israeli law, the fact that I have Jewish blood gives me more right to somebody's home and land in the land of Palestine than somebody that has been there for hundreds of years. Doesn't make sense.
The reason why today it is prohibited, and you can Google this, to do a DNA test in Israel. Totally forbidden. Wrong. It's illegal. It's a crime. You'll be jailed if you do a DNA test in Israel. Why? Because they know the truth will come out. You come from Poland, you come from Ukraine, you came from Europe, you came from everywhere else. And they were the original Middle Eastern Jews who lived together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. For centuries. So what happened to a lot of the Jews who were the Middle Eastern Jews? How come the Palestinians were all or predominantly Muslim? Did you know that there are hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Christians? Did you know that? Across the globe, they are scattered. They suffered as well. In fact, they suffered perhaps more than the Muslims. Do you know that their churches were bombed? Do you know that they feel more unsafe than the Muslims? Did you ever know that? These are Palestinians.
You're not allowed to have a DNA test in Israel. There are Chinese Jews. I've met them. There are Vietnamese Jews. I've met them. They're not native to the land of Palestine. There are African Jews. They're not native to the land of Palestine either. There are Ashkenazi Jews who are entirely European in their DNA. That's why you're not allowed to have a DNA test in Israel, because it will reveal that virtually none of them are Semitic, virtually none of them have any ancestral connection to the land. I was viciously assaulted by a manager in the BBC who had recently converted to Judaism. It's fine. I love all religions. But you can't say I've now converted to Judaism and therefore I have a right to go to the land of Palestine and live in the house of someone whose ancestors have been living in it for thousands of years. Again,
DNA tests are illegal in Israel? Hello guys, and once again, welcome back to my page. Today's topic of conversation is, are DNA tests illegal in Israel? No, that is false. And if you believe this, chances are you're getting your information from social media, which is not a reliable or credible source. So let's talk about it. First place that we start. And this comes from the National Library of Medicine. This was a research article done on a specific case. It says, after the news of one student's experience made headlines, the Israeli Prime Minister's office confirmed that many Jews from the former Soviet Union are asked to provide DNA confirmation of their Jewish heritage in order to immigrate as Jews and become citizens under Israel's law of return. I wanted to start here because there's this notion that every person who claims to be Jewish is allowed back in. This is false. In order to get in, you have to have a DNA test done by a proper and credible source. So yes, DNA testing is legal, but it has to be done in a safe way because most of these companies like MyHeritage, Ancestry, 23andMe, they actually sell your information and they actually have been subject to data breaches. So let's go ahead and continue to go on. It says, Masha Yakerson, like many of her Jewish college-age peers, attempted to sign up for a Birthright Israel trip to the summer of 2013. Birthright told Yakerson, whose family is from Russia, that to prove that she was Jewish and eligible for the trip, she would need to take a DNA test. It says Birthright claimed that the test was required by the Israeli consulate, and further that a DNA test would be required if Yakerson ever wanted to make Aliyah. So yes, in order to make this trip, she had to take a DNA test. But we're not going to stop there because now we are going to go to the genetic information law that was passed in 2000. So here we go, chapter 2, genetic tests, licensing and provision of genetic counseling. We see it says, taking DNA sample and conducting genetic testing. An identified DNA sample shall not be taken from a person. Genetic testing shall not be conducted, nor shall genetic counseling be provided pursuant to the results of testing other in accordance with the provisions of this law. Genetic testing shall be conducted at a genetic institute or in a genetic testing laboratory. The provisions of this subsection shall not apply to genetic testing for research purposes. Now let's go ahead and specifically talk more about what the genetic information law is, which was passed in the year 2000. Here we see it says the purpose of this law is described in its introduction, to regulate the conducting of genetic testing and the provision of genetic counseling, and to protect the right to privacy of the person subject to such testing in respect of identified genetic information, but without derogating from the quality of the medical treatment, medical and genetic research, the advancement of medicine, and the protection of public welfare. So it's allowed, but in a safe way, in a regulated way, in a correct way. So why is Israel concerned with DNA tests? Well, here we go. Privacy concerns of DNA test kits. Number 1, your DNA may end up in the hands of other companies. And that is correct. Because there's a small consent button that you may not notice when you sign up for 23andMe or Ancestry.com or all the other sites, that they're very stealthily placed in a way that you don't realize. They're basically asking if it's all right, if they have your consent, to sell your DNA information to other companies. They are making money off of your DNA. And if you are not careful and you don't read every single consent button that you click before you press next, your information is going to end up being sold to other companies. Now, if you don't believe me, here is an email that I received from 23andMe telling me that my information was hacked into. It says 23andMe Incorporated takes the privacy and confidentiality of your information very seriously. We are writing to update you regarding an incident involving the personal information you made available through 23andMe's optional DNA relatives feature, further described below. Based upon our investigation of this incident, we believe only your family tree profile information was involved. Oops. Here we go. Here's another part of my email that I received. It says, what information was involved? Our investigation determined that a threat actor accessed certain information about your ancestry that you chose to share in your family tree profile. Specifically, your display name, relationship labels, and percentage DNA you share with the other credential stuffed account holder through which your information was accessed. Well, that sucks for me. Now, I do understand some people may not believe me, so here is another article I found. It said, DNA testing firm 23andMe has been fined 2.31 M by UK watchdog over a data breach in 2023 which affected thousands of people. The Information Commissioner's Office said the company, which has since filed for bankruptcy, failed to put adequate measures in place to secure sensitive user data prior to the incident. This was a profoundly damaging breach that exposed sensitive personal information, family histories, and even health conditions. This is the last place that I want to end because I don't think people understand the repercussions of what is going on with these DNA testing companies, and I sincerely wish that I never did them. It says companies may ask if you want to allow your DNA data to be used for research purposes. While it may sound like the benevolent thing to do, opting into such sharing opens you up to bigger risks. Data may pass through the hands of many research partners, and the more other entities that get involved, the harder it is for the company to guarantee what is or isn't happening to your data. In some cases, agreeing to your data being used for research purposes not only allows third parties access to your genetic data, but may include other personal identifiers like account numbers or contact details. Alright guys, there you have it. So DNA testing is not illegal in Israel. It is simply regulated to be done in a safe way, guaranteeing privacy and accuracy.
So here's a fun fact for you. DNA tests are actually forbidden in Israel.
This is true. I've read articles about this because I do a lot of study in archaeology and ancient history, and the foundation of where people came from and where they moved to is just one of my special interests as an autistic person. And it has been proven that both Jewish people and Palestinian or people of Palestinian Muslim background have the same, they are from the same ancestors. That's what I've said before. They basically can make the same claim to that land. So it can't be the situation where the Jews are claiming that the Muslims have just infiltrated their chosen land. It's not true at all. They're both descended from the biblical Canaanites, essentially. Yeah, I can totally understand why the the Israeli government wouldn't want, and I don't want to just say Jewish because Jewish isn't, it equates to Israeli Zionist, a completely different thing. But anyway, the Israeli government, I can see how they wouldn't want that to allow DNA tests, because it would basically prove that they both lay claim to that land. And they have been taught for the longest time that they are the true ancestors and owners of that land. Where the settlement of that land lies, I do not know. I cannot provide that answer. But genetically, they're essentially the same people, historically.
When I show you what I'm about to show you, your mind will be blown. You're going to be blindsided. Every single Israeli prime minister has a fake name. Did you know that? I was just talking about Ben Gurion. Do you know what his original name is? It's Gruen. Gruen. He changed it to make it sound more Jewish and sound more Middle Eastern. Do you know what Netanyahu's real name is? It's not Netanyahu, it's Milkovsky. I swear to God, go and look it up. You'll find Milkovsky. That's his real name. These are, remember what Israelis are. Israelis are European Jews. They don't come from Palestine, but they want you to make you believe. They want to make believe and make you believe that they come from this area, that they are indigenous to the land, that they're so Jewish, right? Even though they have no connection. So they changed their names. Here's another one. Moshe Sharat. His name is Chertok originally. You've got Levi Eshkol. Eshkol was Shklonik. So he changed it from Shklonik to Eshkol. Then you have Yigal Alon. His original name, Peikovitz. Golda Meir, Israel's first female prime minister. Her real name is not Golda Meir. It's Mabovich. Mabovich. More like mad bitch. We have Yitzhak Rabin, right? His name is not Rabin. It's Rubitsov. Are you seeing the pattern? These are Eastern European names. Not Palestinian, not Jewish, not Middle Eastern. They're Eastern European, okay? They're not Palestinian. They don't come from this region. Yitzhak Shamir. He's a great one. You know, Yitzhak Shamir, he's on the wanted poster because he was wanted by the British police in Palestine for terrorism. But they don't tell you that. So Yitzhak Shamir, his original name is Yezernitsky. Yezernitsky. Shimon Peres, Persky. Netanyahu, I already told you, Malikovsky. I think I said Milkovsky, excuse me, it's Malikovsky. Never, you know, it's the same point. Ehud Barak is Brog. So B-R-O-G. Brog. He changed it to Barak. Ariel Sharon. His original name is Shinerman. Shinerman. He changed it to Sharon. And Yair Lapid, who's, you still see him changing posts, his original name is Lampel. So he changed it from Lampel to Lapid. Ain't it lovely? Ain't it lovely? You know, it's like, I know half of you didn't know this. I guarantee half of you at least didn't know this stuff. I guarantee you. Because no matter how much you know about the Zionists, you will always discover new things about them, about how they obfuscate, how they lie, how they cheat their way into taking the land, right? By hook or by crook. They're going to do anything they can. And they think that this is a way to, you know, pull the wool over our eyes and make us think that, you know, they belong to the region or something. Like we can't look at their faces and see, well, you look particularly different to the people that are indigenous to the land. Do you not? I mean, again, you can have all sorts of people in the Levant. You know, you can have gingers and a pale white. It's not about that, but we know that every single Israeli government, it's always been headed by, and the cabinet has been filled by people who are Ashkenazi. They're not Semites. They don't come from the region. They're Eastern Europeans. They're Jews from Europe. They just don't come from this region. I don't know when they converted or whatever, but the point is that they don't come from the region. And even if they did, like, let's say you're a Zionist. Let's say you actually believe, yes, this is the land of the Jews. These people are not Jewish. They are not Jewish in the sense that you think they are. They have adopted a religion from the Middle East. That doesn't mean they are the original Hebrews or people that lived there 3,000 years ago. Ironically, if you're looking for the people that lived there 3,000 years ago, guess what? They're still there. They're called Palestinians. Maybe today some of them are Christian. Maybe some of them are Muslim. But they are the original people of this land. And you're killing them and butchering them. So what does that make you? Right? Not to mention the fact, this is why we call Arabs and Palestinians Semites, because they're Semites. They come from this region. So, these people are not Semites. The Israelis are not Semites, and they are butchering actual Semites and then calling the real Semites anti-Semitic. I mean, what is that? They're such frauds. They even change the names to make themselves appear more Semitic. That's how fraudulent they are. That's how criminal they are. Shame on them. Malikovsky, what a wanker. Again, YouTube demonetized my channel because I'm not allowed to say naughty things about Israel. Telling the truth is forbidden. So if you are able to donate a few dollars on PayPal or on a monthly basis on Patreon, please consider doing it, because it would really help me continue my journalism and support independent media. So I'd be very grateful. And the links are in the description and also in the chat. Thank you guys very much again.
You go fight Iran. You go form an army and fight Iran. You go to Israel and fight Hamas. We are American people. It's not our problem. And you're not going to convince us otherwise. We're done. Israel has been convincing us that their issues and their enemies in the Middle East are ours since the 80s. And all it's done is cost us trillions of dollars and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of American lives. We are done. The deception is over. The game is over. And you're not going to insult us because we're done playing. You're not going to insult us because we're done with Israel's wars and done with you controlling the right-wing geopolitical discourse. We're done, and we're not going to be insulted. You've gone too far. Israel's time running our foreign policy is over.
This one's going to make your blood boil. In the late 1940s and 50s, thousands of Yemeni Jews came to Israel, told they were coming to the Promised Land. But when they arrived, hundreds of their babies and toddlers vanished. Israeli officials told the parents they died. But there were no bodies, no graves, no death certificates. For decades, Mizrahi families said our children were stolen, and they were right. Multiple investigations have since revealed that babies, mostly from Yemeni, Moroccan and Balkan families, were likely taken and given to Ashkenazi families or adopted abroad. Why? Because the ruling elite thought the Mizrahim were inferior, because a white baby was seen as more modern and suitable. The Israeli state gaslit these families for decades. Only in the 2000s did a few files start to be released, and even today, no one has been held accountable. So when people tell you that Zionism saved Jews, ask the Yemeni mothers who are told that their child had died when in fact they'd been stolen.
A religion cannot be native to any land. There are Ashkenazi Jews who are entirely European in their DNA. That's why you're not allowed to have a DNA test in Israel, because it will reveal that virtually none of them have any ancestral connection to the land. I love all religions, but you can't say I've now converted to Judaism and therefore I have a right to go to the land of Palestine and live in the house of someone whose ancestors have been living in it for thousands of years.
So let that meet in the comment section. Let us see what are you saying about this. But for now, let us listen these theories and these stories about the Jews themselves and the people reacting on this story. So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.